Hello everyone, thank you for watching. This is Sellavin. I'm gonna do something called Yu-Gi-Oh recap. And this is gonna be episode Yu-Gi-Oh recap one, cause that's just cause this is gonna be a new topic that I'm gonna be doing, like a recap of everything that we've learned so far from Yu-Gi-Oh. Spoiler alert for anyone who didn't watch the last episode or that episode for that, and a couple theories that you should probably listen to. I'm trying to do this because I want to get as many views as I can. Because it's obviously that I should like, I want to appeal to fans because people see my reviews and overall, but I want to do more subjects than just reviewing an episode weekly. I'm trying to expand my horizons, you will. Oh, okay, let's get started. And we know, if you guys know the story about this, you know that Academy has been launching a war of invasion against the other dimensions, but it's not true. Apparently, this has all been the ambition of one Acabalio. Leo. Acabalio is the one who's in charge. He's Renji's father. He's father. He was once the CEO of Leo, or the founder. And he made his way in the fusion dimension, and that's where everything gets started. Now let's head to the main point. We found out the story from Acabalio that every dimension once one, and the reason why they were split into different dimensions and changed was because, there was there was some kind of event that caused the dimensions to split apart. Anyway, let's get started. We learned that Acabalio was someone who lived in this united world, and dueling was then like as advanced as it was today. Like, you got this live action dueling, real, sl- real slit vision was there. So everything was as it is. So the truth. So this world was more advanced and united, and the other worlds they just split apart into different directions. Yes. But we learned that during that event, a mysterious duelist called a demon duelist appeared, and he desired to be the best and the strongest. He excelled at everything, and no one could touch him, no one could beat him, and he did it all for the amusement of the crowd. So overall, well, that's something. However, as things get become more exciting and violent, and so that he became drunk drunk with power overall. He began to change. He began to become different and become violent to the point where he resembled the monsters. We learned we learned that with real salvation that monsters when they take material form they also tend to have personalities. And this is like canon from the original story that Duel Monsters was based on actual monsters and they have souls inside of them. That's canon. That's part of Easter egg and canon to the original series. Overall, that's something you got to consider. However, when this demon duelist became powerful, so powerful that none could challenge him, but he wanted more out of it. He wanted to change everything. He wanted more pleasure, more drama. He actually stabbed the duelist's shoulder with a monster using its lance. You know what a lance is? That's the long spear used for jousting and knighthoods, fairy tales. That's something you got to consider. It's very damaging when you see it, especially the blood that comes out of it. Seeing that right now, it's definitely very haunting. Like, we know that the sub for Yu-Gi-Oh is more violent than the dub. There's even people that died and they don't bring back, and it just changed it that they disappeared or whatever. But it's something you kind of consider. But Zork became so corrupt with power and thing that he began to change himself. He started attacking to any people, innocent people, destroying everything. And then he became so crazy and mad with power that he became one with his dragons. Apparently, the dragons themselves were born from a desire and a way to lash out as a way of revenge. And it's because as they were forced to fight overall, so they desired revenge and lashed out at people for making them fight so much. Eventually, Zork became one and became the Supreme Dragon King. And this was a very dark time. You combine all these monsters into one. These four dragons were Odd Eyes Dragon, Dark Rebellion Renixie's Dragon, and Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, and and Starving and Fusion Dragon. But they didn't do it alone. There was another monster that was in the middle. Astrograph Magician, the magician of time and space. I'll get into that. Uh, I'll get into that. This is definitely a very interesting concept when you this. However, Leo knew that this boy must be, or this being Zork must be stopped. So he developed 4 cards that were designed to create natural energy to siphon and defeat Zork once and for all. And he succeeded creating 4 cards that necessary to do so. But at the end, when he was about to do it, his cards were stolen by the hand of a young girl. This young girl being Ray, who was his daughter. His daughter used the 4 cards and didn't want to lose her father and to die, so she chose to take on Zork herself. And it worked. She materialized 4 braces. She divided Zork into pieces, but also divided her own soul and the world into 4 different dimensions. This, however, didn't just separate people, but the universes themselves, and they all became different. Leo, on the other hand, was spared. My theory is that the reason why he was spared is because he stands so close to the blast radius. It coated him in some kind of bubble effect, some kind of bubble, to make sure that to make sure that he survived the effects of the dimension of the time space wave that I call it the Big Bang or whatever. Call it the Big Bang, and that divided the dimensions. However, Leo over time he started to become fascinated, started to remember pieces of his own life. Then he made Yugioh Sakaki. He develops real solid vision and overall action dueling. However, he started to remember times of his own life, tapping into his memory. Then he found out about the 4th dimension. He started searching the 4 dimensions for remnants of his daughter, Ray. But the first that he found was Selena. However, Selena, didn't remember who he was. Only thought he was a professor overall. She doesn't remember him as a father. She doesn't remember him as anybody, just a strange man. And this, however, turns out to be Leo's hope, because Ray divided her own soul and divided it into the other brace of girls, that being Yuzu, Rin, and Rudy. So he tried to kidnap 4 girls, so he can bring back his daughter. However, he also figured out that in the 4 dimensions there was another boy that survived. This boy was also divided pieces. That person being Zork and the dragons. And each owner of the dragons being divided into pieces is just like Zork was as well in the dimensions. And that being Yugioh having Odd Eyes Dragon, Yugioh being Odd Eyes Dragon, Yuto having Dark Rebellion Exceeds Dragon, Yugioh having Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, and Yuri having Star Venom Fusion Dragon. Alright. Even go so far as to say that Yugioh is not the real son of Yugioh, that he's actually the devil incarnate, that he's the being that has the power to destroy the world once again, like he did before. Anyway, that's something you gotta consider overall. Excuse me, there's something in the way. That's something you gotta consider overall. Sorry, just some background check. That's something you gotta consider overall. But Yugioh, he's a good kid. He's not evil. He wants to bring smile, not hurt people, and I can see it. But Leo says that he is. He said, didn't it make sense that you gain enormous power when you absorb your other half, or the other you? Basically saying that Berserk mode is really Zork's desire for destruction. For sure. Manifesting himself when he duels. That's something you got to think about. However, things are not. Renji, believing in Yugioh, doesn't think that's true. He thinks that Yugioh is the light. He is kind. He saw what he did in the Synchro Dimension, bringing smiles to people and bringing them united and abolishing all the hatred in people and bringing them united as one. that's something you got to consider. I mean, you got to consider. And but together with Yuya, he's willing to stand up to his father. Even though his father offered him to join him, he's refused because Renji flat out hates his father. So that for what he did, destroying all these people. Anyway, let's get started on the theories overall. Even though the bracelet girls, the bracelet girls, the Yuzus never met each other, and neither did the Yutos before all this started, it would make sense why they would act so weirdly and around each other. The bracelet girls, I think they were there in place to keep the U boys in check, to keep their humanity in check. I think so. But remember, before Zork became a monster, he was a human being trying to set out to do something, who tried to set out and had ambitions and dreams like anyone else. I think the Yuga girls represent the way to keeping them apart so they're not together. I mean, we see mostly Yuzu and not the other bracelet girls throughout most of the series. That's either because either we're kidnapped or they're going to be used for something else. That's something you have to consider overall. Consider it. And now that we know the story. Alright, we know that Leo plans on reviving his daughter, and he's going to use the energy that he siphoned from every single soul that was carded in the Xyz dimension, everywhere. He's going to use their souls to bring back his daughter and create a whole new world called Arc 5. Now, this is madness. Yes, I mean, I know that he's trying to do this so he can bring back his dead daughter who sacrificed herself, but this is just borderline madness. I mean, overall, Leo, it's obvious he's gone insane. And the reason is because he couldn't let it go. He couldn't let he let the love of his daughter or outshine everything else. Because of that, he couldn't just let it go. So he looked for his memories. He found her. Yeah, he wanted to, but there wasn't enough. So he abandoned his own wife and son in standard dimension, and his own wife and son. And this reason why Renji hates his father, because he abandoned him. He abandoned him to search for a child that was lost to him, and was willing to sacrifice as many souls as possible, just to do so. I mean, that is wrong. I mean, what Leo is doing is just borderline insanity. I mean, he's willing to do this just to get his daughter back, despite knowing the danger, despite knowing what he's doing. And this is another theory. I think that the balance of the universe became offset because Leo wanted his daughter so back, so he started kidnapping the other girls first and causing the war. Because of Leo's interference, things became so out of whack that it resulted in manifesting, creating ripple effects throughout the four dimensions. Like, for example, Heartland in the Xyz dimension became a war zone. Yuto and Yugioh had their duel because Clearwing guided Yugioh to the Xyz dimension because that's where Yuri was. Because after he kidnapped Rin, so forcing two of the four Yuyas to have an epic duel and have a rivalry with each other. It's basically because the professor's orders manipulating Yuri to do so. I think the U girls are there to keep them in check and remind them that they're good people. And I think the kindest of all the U boys has to be Yuya. I think he represents the parts of Zork that represents his humanity, while there's Yuto represents the bravery and is the brave side and courage. Yugioh represents the fearlessness. Like, for example, a riding duel can be very dangerous, especially if you don't know how to ride. And you could fall off a motorcycle while dueling. And then there's Yuri representing the dark and evil aspects of Zork's personality. He represents the darkness a little bit. Especially when he was treated as young, we learned his backstory that he didn't have a lot of friends, so he was treated alone. So the only person that actually looked out for him was the professor, but that's only to use him as a tool, but when he's done with him, he'll get rid of him, just like he's going to do with the other U-boys. Right, and that is obvious. Right, so in other words, there's the Armageddon that and in other words, Akaba Leo, it refers to triggering another Armageddon by bringing these four U-boys and U-girls together. I mean, they were meant to be kept apart, but you brought them all together because of your own selfishness. Basically, because of a father's desire not to let their child rest in peace, he's gone mad, destroyed hundreds upon hundreds of lives, and we know see what direct counter is, destroyed them all, well, just to use their essence to bring back his long lost daughter, and he even got the nerve to call it Renji's sister. I mean, technically that is true that Rei is Renji's sister, but because of your doing, you're inadvertently caused the other U boys and other people to retaliate against you. Basically, you're either just as bad, if not far worse than Zork ever was, because you're destroying all his life for your own selfish abandonment. This is something you have done, Akaba Leo. That is something you have done, which is pretty messed up when you think about it. Basically, the Akabaleo is the main villain of this story, but he wasn't the first main villain of the story. Before him, it was Zork, but because of what he did, couldn't letting it go, caused all this damage, and all this destruction, all this pain and suffering because of his own greedy ambition. When you think about it, it's very sad. And you also get to see in the future episode, Yuya starts to go berserk mode. Hard to go berserk mode. Oh, ignore that. I'll ignore that in a minute. Yuya starts to go berserk mode as things start to go south. But it's definitely, when you think about it, I'll get to that in a minute. It's my phone ringing. I still hate this. When you think about it, it's definitely very damaging. And Leo couldn't let his daughter go because how much he loved her. Because if he did so much, I mean, it's very bad when you think about it. He could be triggering another universe-shattering effect, but this time not just separating them, but completely destroying them. Because he brought the incarnations of Zork here as well. However, Yuya, being so kind-hearted, maybe he could represent the parts of Yuya that is his human part before he went dark, which is pretty important. To me, that is, and that part is important when you think about it. And so it's something you got to consider, which means that Yuya may be the hope that this world may need, and maybe he may be able to stop all of it. But there is one thing I gotta learn. When Zork became one with the four dragons, he had another card doing it. And he had another card which was a key, which was Astrograph Magician. I think this Astrograph Magician may be the true form of Stargazer and Time Gazer magicians. Which means that these two cards are the two foundations for pendulum summoning, which is what Yuya wanted. Yuya wanted to become stronger. He wanted to change. Maybe his desire to help people, maybe using some of Zork's power, is the reason why pendulum summoning became born in the first place. It's true. Because standard summoning is strong, but it's not as strong as the other four summoning, especially, or method. It can't compare mostly to the others. But with pendulum power, maybe pendulum summon represents the part of Yuya, his soul, in fact. What his father taught him to make sure things swing your way, overall. That's a quote from the dub too, I think. That's something you got to consider overall. Something you think and that's right, but it's actually wrong. That's something I consider overall a good thing. And it's definitely something I consider. If you were me and you were thinking about all this took me a while to do because I'm not as good. I can't paste pictures and do stuff like this. I'm not as good as Dylan from Clueless Gamers. You should go to his channel. He also has another channel called Yugioh Everything. I'm gonna post that on it's on his homepage. He makes theory videos. Shout out. He even did me a shout out using my Q&A. But this is something that falls in line with some of his stuff. He's better at this stuff than I am, and that's something you got to consider. And I really like how he does it. He even bought a Yu-Gi-Oh shirt. I mean, he's better at this stuff than me. Hey, straight up. He's better at this than me. But that's all I gotta say. Hey, give me your opinion. What do you think of all this? Hey, are my talking or my theory videos? I'm sorry if this was be so long. Vic Dillon has been on to make 45-minute videos, but that's kind of pasting, editing, putting videos together. I can't do that. I'm not as good as him. I said that. But to me, this is the best I can do. And something I really liked. I thank you and I appreciate you for listening in on me for so long. Give me a like, comment down below, give me your opinion, tell me what you think about this. Anyway, this is Sellavin giving my video Yu-Gi-Oh recap episode one, chapter number 1. And thank you. Hope you enjoy and have a great day. I'm out. Bye.